Okay, cool. Well, thanks for joining and having this short chat with me, Chanwit. This is going to be the Ignite Developer Call for October 28th. And again, all of these are public governance, so feel free to check the meeting notes in the description and join at a future date. So, Chanwit, you were uh, out last week, and
Right.
guess probably it's just good for you and I to catch up on what we talked about last week. Um, I know you opened up this patch for the Ignite wrap binary. Uh, do
hmm
you think this is a really like good approach to like actually be shipping these binaries under our project?
hmm Okay. And so this the wrapper is going to be a automatically unpacks um, the CNI binary and into a location and can to make Ignite run out of the box. So basically, that's what that was I, I planned for this new binary. The point is that should should we call it Ignite W or should we replace the old the current Ignite binary with this one? But I think it's going to be better to have a separate binary because it's going to make the user less confused. So, but I'm open for a suggestion.
I
And
and
this
when does the unpacking happen? Every
um is gonna catch it has a is gonna catch the unpacked contents into the local share and in the home directly and it's just once. But if the if the Ignite W got changed, like you if you download the newer version of the binary, then it's gonna do the automatic automatically unpacked again. So basically, the work for the overall idea. This binary, this kind of deployment has been used like it's very similar to what Docker Compose has used for for since probably since the beginning of the project. Docker Compose used a similar techniques to pack the whole Python binary and Python libs into a single
Whoa, I
executable.
actually had no idea that Docker Compose shipped its
And
own
it's
Python runtime.
mhm, yeah, it's does and it's run in the virtual environment, Python or virtual environment. And it's basically ship the whole Python. But I
Oh,
can't
okay.
remember the version.
Using
Yeah.
virtual envs, and then yeah, it uses
Right, right.
for
Yeah,
isolation.
right,
So you're
right.
saying,
That's
okay, well,
yeah. But
because
but
it's
but.
not a Go project. Yeah,
Mhm.
but then you found Warp. So who else is using Warp?
Well, Packer,
Hacker.
there, there's a number I've just listed on their GitHub project. Well, I can't remember. But is um I've been using it for a while, and I haven't find any issue with it. So yeah, there are just some project using it. It's a small number, but it's it's quite um, stable. I mean, in um, in my sense, but I'm open to if you have the idea for another implementation.
Well, I mean, it's just like if we were to make the CNI bin configurable, and then just as part of, because I know the driving factor for this was the
Yeah.
Fireproof installation. And if the bin was configurable, then we could just have a home bin, but then it's like really confusing UX for people.
Uh-huh.
So it's like there are definitely other ways that we could create an isolated installation just for Ignite. And I'm just trying to like suss out, is this something that, like, it's a really cool technical implementation. I tried it out. It works just fine. But it makes me think, well, we're stepping around the fact that there's no mature packaging solution. So now we're taking the onus of like, okay, well, we're distributing CNI. And
I mean, at least for our local installation, and in the patch, I also add I mean, the CNI Go library used by Ignite is allow us to have a multiple location of CNI binaries, and we just we can just append other we can just append other location into the bin part. Where's that? Is in here.
I suppose it's happening here.
Yeah, this line 112. Yeah, we this implement the current implementation. I just append the local.
Which one of these takes
location.
precedence?
The local the local first, I think. Let's see.
That would probably be more does and
The
we're only
local
just,
the local first, then the global one. Later.
and we're actually shipping the entirety of the CNI binaries, right?
Yeah, or it too.
So that means that
We
this is basically a form of like static linking,
binary, yes,
yeah.
to make it.
I mean, it's not static linking, but we're hard pinning, because in that case, right, it's like, okay, somebody wants to use their own CNI stuff, which is good. Like they can install, like Weave or Router or anything they want. even if it's not using the default binaries. But then
Yeah, it is.
with regard to like the bridge plugin and all of that, like it's going to be magically pinned to whatever we ship.
Yes, because we only test Ignite with, I mean, our versions. Like I don't know if it's going to be break with the older version of
Well,
CNI,
interfaces our version.
because we use a specific configuration like O CNI O4O configuration with this, and if people happens to have different configurations or different version of bridge and loopback binary, loopback and bridge binary on their path, then it's going to be breaks. It might break, but I haven't tried yet.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think that it's necessarily like we'll catch breakage in the project at some point, but like if this config does not work ever because a CNI binary changes, that's a bug in the CNI project. So we can guard ourselves from those by doing
Okay.
But I mean, this is versioned, and it should always produce an appropriate behavior. Not
you mean
not
the consistent behavior? Okay.
But yeah, it should be the same. Like that's the interface we're depending on. But I don't know. I'm torn on this because I realize why Firekube is installing like into the wks-ctl subdirectory and then like doing the path manipulation and stuff. But it's really not a clean solution. Like anytime you're starting to mess with people's
You're right. That's why I'm thinking to use this approach, because with this we can just ship a binary and can just replace the current binary, the current behavior used by Firekube, and it just works. So that's why I'm agree this way. It's a bit hard because it's I mean, because in Firekube there's an option to to force download or to force download the binary again from the defined version of the binary is used again with a forced download, and then with that the Firekube is going to get a newer version of binary. I mean, that's gonna make things mess. So,
yeah, I think I would be interested to see. I mean, I suppose it's not terrible to have the wks-ctl bin, and anybody can add that to their path if they want. It's just like installing to that namespace versus a different one. It's like the question would be, okay, well, like why don't we just install CNI for the user, right?
Yeah, yeah. I too have that's question. Why wouldn't I do that? I'm thinking about that too. Hmm. I feel I feel a bit like where should we? I mean, on the on Ubuntu, where should we install the CNI binary for? Uh, you can we can just use the .deb from the Kubernetes repository. Is that a normal way? Are you sure where the people doing or not?
That is the normal way that CNI gets installed, but only because Kubernetes has taken the ownership of distributing CNI,
Oh yes, you told me last time.
right?
Yes,
But CNI does not distribute
that's not
a package.
anymore.
Um, and yeah, I don't know if they ever did. Maybe they did before,
Yeah,
but
that might be the reason that it bugs me to think this way.
and it just and we don't really have to worry about the Mac OS portion of this, right? Because Ignite and CNI are not going to function on a Mac. We're really only concerned about Linux machines.
Yeah,
But I mean,
two different OS, Linux and no, I mean two different Linux, Ubuntu and Send.
so then
Mainly.
the only other problem that you run into is that on a Linux machine, like Alex submitted a bug report, right, where he ran into an issue where he had CNI installed and he had WeaveNet configured, but then WeaveNet
Mm-hmm.
was not running. But then Ignite attempted to use the CNI configuration. This was not actually a bug, but it was a UX issue, right, where there were these things that were configured on his host and he didn't realize very understandably. And then he has
Yeah,
to go fix his host configuration.
yeah,
And then we don't want to like overwrite users' hosts configuration because we should assume and that like users know what they're doing, right? With CNI. Um,
right,
if
right. We
it's
should
clear that
assume
a
that.
user doesn't have any configuration or any binaries, right? Then like let's go ask the user to install the binaries and Ignite will plop in a useful configuration. But yeah, I mean, it's it's going to be like very similar. Ideally, it should be the Docker user experience, right? Where it's like, okay, well, Docker's going to get set up, it'll do networking for you. But if you want to do something else, right, you can install a plugin, you can override all of that, and
Yeah,
that's where we're at. But the binary location is not configurable. So it always has to be at opt CNI bin right now. And then the same thing with the configuration directory. It's like hard coded.
mm-hmm.
So in this patch, we have Binder still being hard coded into the Ignite wrap binary. Um, this is also
Yeah.
um,
Is relative to the executable. I mean the CNI, the embedded CNI directly is relative to the executable directly. Um, it's just I just put it there beside the executable, and
how
then yeah.
Oh, constant CNI dependencies. So this is only in here when you're using warp, I guess.
Let me see. This is what? This is
Oh, that's checks.
this is a pre-flight check.
So warp just happens. It's just the way that you built the binary, and it just automatically unpacks.
Yeah,
There's not a lot of code here.
It's unpacked and and launch. Just that. Nothing fancy.
This is always true, isn't it? If we can stat the directory that the executable is contained in.
Yes, it's always true.
So that's not.
It's not right here.
But there's probably a different way that we can tell. But yeah, I mean, I guess just if we would like to maintain this, at least it's not a lot of code. I'm concerned about some of the reasons why this is necessary.
Yeah, good point.
So yeah,
I'm thinking about it as an option, not the mandatory way to use Ignite, but an option. And that we can list some reason to tell. I mean to start a discussion why we actually doing this, and what is another option that we could choose.
How big is this binary in comparison? Does it really depend on build all?
Yeah, because we need the ignite binary.
You can just
Yes.
ignite.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
It's going to be bin ignite or something. Yep, might be.
And then it was this if statement, I believe.
Yeah, I look into it. Yeah, it's going to be about. It's going to be about.
Wow. Okay. It is. Am I just not sharing anymore? Did it just stop sharing?
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Um, just linking the discussion that we're having in the PR review.
Okay.
Obviously, we could have a more in-depth review of this, but those are just two things I noticed. And then,
So maybe we need a checklist to
yeah,
test the behavior of this wrapper, like the that you're concerning about.
So, um,
Sit there.
non-binary direct. So I was supposed to get Ignite W.
W somewhere here locally. Could you just list? Just
I mean,
ls?
I just ran make build Ignite W.
Yeah, and it might be just there. Just because I just copied out directly and haven't put in yeah, okay. That one. It should be in bin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be in bin.
Okay. So let's compare that versus what is happening here? So then AMD 64 or not. Am I not understanding something here? What is... I'm just trying to compare this.
You compared the wrong file.
Yeah.
So it's
Then AMD 64.
50 megabytes versus 35.
Yeah. Okay. So Okay. I mean, that seems sensible. So yeah, there are a few things we could do with regard to that change. Um, I haven't looked into this, but Mark Emais mentioned last week that Ignite D wasn't functioning. Were you able to look into that claim?
Um, Not yet, but it's a bit. I mean, I can feel that it's a bit big problem because it's going to be related to the reconcile algorithm there in the. I mean, we might need to rewrite the the whole reconcile algorithm of Ignite D because I don't I because it's kind of it's it's not follow some um, it's not using the identification or UUID or something that um, should be used by the way the reconcile algorithm should use. So probably
Okay.
that what I could think of at the moment.
Um, and then, oh yeah, Daniel just asked this question. So, I mean,
What is that?
it's whether or not we wanted to update this Firecoup version at some point for the Ignite dependency because
Oh
we're on,
yeah,
but
that's
it's intentional. Okay.
that's one of them.
I really want to get Nathan's patches in. Uh, so I'll do a review of those. I have a feeling the VM filter thing is just going to merge immediately. And then he mentioned that he would update the ignite pre-flight command to be ignite check. Um, just little details. And then that'll be those two significant contributions ready for the next release.
Is is there any plan for you to or for someone to demo Firecoup or Ignite at the KubeCon next month?
Yeah, yeah. Mark will be presenting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's working on a presentation there. And
I see.
what am I trying to do here? I'm trying to go to the Ignite issues and just make sure, did we have anything coming in? Okay, we have this new issue. Did we decide on this, by the way? My opinion is that this should be probably maintained in the Firecoup project.
Okay. So we might try.
I think you wrote, yeah, you wrote this PR for this.
Yep.
And yeah, and you summed
We
this.
can we can move that. Okay.
Okay. And then,
Can move it.
oh, I think you found this bug. Check runtime binary.
Yes. I think it's a quick fix. I think we can just match it.
Okay. And then this user wants to know, can I set a static IP That would have to be through like an IPAM CNI plugin.
Uh-huh.
Um, I don't know. Is there something that I could like look at here? CNI ARG. I don't know how that's used.
I don't know either. But yes, yeah, we can. Yeah, like okay, that's we can.
Yeah,
We
I
can
would.
tell. We can tell him.
I mean, it's like you're still going to be working with an IP pool, right? Like, how do you get the actual container, right, that you're asking for to have a specific IP address? I don't know the answer to that. There's probably and it seems like Multis can do this from a pod annotation somehow. I would assume that the way for a container to communicate to CNI that it should be configured in some way, right, is to be labeled with an OCI label or something. But meh.
Like using annotation or something.
Yeah, containers themselves, I don't think can be annotated, but there is a long list of labels that you can set, or it's a schema-less list of labels that you can assign your own schema to, if I'm not mistaken. Do I have any containers running right now? Yeah, so like the kind container right here, if I do like a Docker inspect on it, and then let's just, there should be a section where it has some labels. Because this may not actually be the OCI spec. I kind of forget if Docker inspect actually gives you. So there's this right here, right? Which is under config. So those labels show when the kind build was run and what the role and cluster the container belongs to is. But those, you can set anything here. So I would imagine you could do like, I don't know, CNCF IO CNCF CNI something, static IP.
IP before something.
Yeah, which we would have to basically have somewhere. I don't know if maybe our VM spec has a way to label the container VM.
I just the annotation last time in the VM spec. I mean, it's just Kubernetes Open API,
So again,
you can just put
like,
anything.
if you annotate a pod, the resulting containers do not have the annotations in the labels, right? Like that's an implementation detail. Like annotations and labels are not the same thing, and there's even metadata labels inside of the pod spec. Any object meta has that from Kubernetes, but that's about that's like labeling or annotating the API object.
Okay.
But what I'm talking about is when you actually run an OCI container, the container can be labeled.
So it's a different level of implementation. Yeah,
Yeah.
got it.
So you can attach like arbitrary data to the container, and
Rather
then
than the outside.
and the only reason why that in my head would be important is you could then probably parse the container's labels from like a CNI plugin.
Yep, I did that with the wall. Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's like the only sensible way that I see that
We could
could be.
attach yeah, we could attach the data about the IP address we want to assign the container.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not certain though on that. If we do inspect VM and we like just look at one of these, I don't recall seeing. I mean, I guess there's network. There's this network at storage stuff. Um, I think this is where the IP address shows up if the VM is running.
Yes, yes, that's right.
I mean, if we supported defining this via a API object like beforehand,
Mhm.
like maybe through here in the network block, which is empty, but then here in the status section there is the IP address, then we could pass that through to CNI or something. I don't know about this, but it
Yeah, we
is
can do
a common question. I don't have a short answer here, so I'm just gonna. I should probably answer this at some point. But thank you, Ali, for the for creating the issue. That's an important one. Let's triage it.
And
Priority. Important.
um,
Sorry.
so please. Um, okay. One user, a user in the public channel, he tried the Mac VLAN driver at the bench, the Mac VLAN, and it's not working.
Okay.
So, but I was wondering why. I don't know why, but he said the VM got assigned the IP address, but he couldn't root into the VM. It's probably it's probably the problem of routing or forwarding.
And this is in
Ignite. His name is Daniel, I think. Yeah, not our Daniel. That one. Yeah.
So I will suppose. Oh, okay. So he's making a. Oh, so this is the Docker.
No, he tried with CNI configuration, not a Docker version. The CNI.
Well, I mean, right above his CNI configuration, he's also using Docker Network Create. So he may
No,
be.
he said it's just a example or something that
Uh,
he tried both. He tried um, Docker Mac VLAN and its work. Yeah, he tried um, CNI, something like that. And
so
he
you asked him if he was using the bridge driver and whether or not it worked. And then he
it
said yes, but then answered completely differently, which is or maybe he was saying the bridge driver worked, but then the next comment that he has is network create Mac VLAN with Docker, and then he has this CNI configuration. You can see the ARP on the switch appearing. Fascinating. That is really cool that somebody is actually trying to do multi-host networking. It seems like he got a bridge of some sort working.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of bridge, but it's not
I switched the bonding network interfaces to BR0.
it's
Okay.
bond.
Yeah, let's definitely just link this because I would like to see if everything is working with him. I'll follow up too. That's a good little CNI anecdote.
I feel like people trying to have a very big bare metal machine and trying to put a lot of Ignite VM inside.
Mm-hmm.
Some cool stuff. Some kind of.
Okay. Well, also mentioned bonding the BR0 interface from the default Ignite bridge conf. Very interesting. Was it bonded with an ETH0? Sorry. Cool. That's cool. Somebody, I guess that would be a way to do it if you bonded the virtual bridge with
something
with a hardware NIC interface. I guess that would. I've never thought of doing that before. I'm not a network engineer. I've done a little bit of bonding of like hardware NICs together, but never bonded a virtual bridge with a hardware NIC.
really is. It's really interesting.
I guess I don't see why that wouldn't work. Actually, yeah. That's. You would still want IP forwarding enabled in the kernel, right?
Yes, I think he said he did that, but I don't know.
Yeah, because once it hits the bridge, it still needs to route. I don't know what some of this means. I need to look at a diagram because the bridge is going to have an IP, and then it needs to also have routing enabled, I guess. So you would reach the bridge on a shared IP that's bonded with the hardware NIC, and then the kernel would whatever.
Yeah, that's really.
Yeah.
This sound really cool.
Yeah, that's if we could document that kind of a setup works, then that would be amazing.
Mm-hmm. But it's been hard for have that kind of setup. I mean, even we have a bare metal boxes.
Thanks so much for staying on top of everything and doing the integrations and reaching out to users and all that. It really makes a difference and positive. So I need to do some significant maintenance this week so we can do that together.
Okay.
I guess I'll stop recording. It seems like we've chatted through quite a couple topics here, and then maybe you and I can just catch up a little more personally off this call. But yeah, we'll conclude the formal part of this meeting now. So.